What up, y'all? And welcome to the Roast with Friends podcast. It's your boy JayMan. I'm here with Sir Rock, apparently, aka C Rock. You want to go ahead and tell them what's going on, Chris?
Hey, what's cracking? Hey, first of all, like and subscribe. Follow, do whatever you gotta do. Find us on Instagram. Do what you gotta do, please. We need some subscribers. So yeah, this episode we're gonna call this one "Fumbling the Relationship." But before we actually get to that, let me introduce you to. We got two lovely co-hosts right here. We got my main woman, Shareen. Say hi, Shareen.
Hello, how are you?
And our other lovely co-host from the Dope podcast, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you want to introduce yourself to the audience, all 12 of them?
I know there's got to be more than that.
All right,
yeah,
14.
I'm personally a fan, so that's 13. But my name is Ellise Rogers. I have another podcast called the Dope Podcast. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll hook you up, or you can follow me at the Real Dope Podcast. But I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for this episode.
Yes, we are happy for you to be here too. It's always great to have two lovely ladies' perspective.
Before we get started, something that I just found out, I was looking at Elise's background. I thought she was at Lake Paris, but apparently she's at
Master
Kame's
Roshi's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DragonBall Z, y'all. That's not Lake Paris.
That's Master Roshi's house.
Hey, y'all, we talking about Paris, California, not Paris, France. Y'all. We not different place. We not balling like that. But.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I remember saying, "Yeah, I'm going to a party in Paris," and like these girls in Orange County, like, "Oh my God, you're flying to Europe." I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to explain." I just said, "Yeah, going to Europe."
And
I couldn't explain myself. Like they had such an amazing view on life. They didn't know that Paris, California existed. I wish I didn't know Paris, California existed, but I do. So, but I'm glad. I still hope they don't know about it. I still hope those girls don't know about it. So, we're gonna talk about DragonBall Z though, with that background.
Yeah, we have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a huge fan. So I did bring out my purse. If you see this purse walking around the mall or Marshalls, you'll know it's me. Piccolo!
Whoa, that's nice.
Piccolo! It's Piccolo and Gohan. How dare they? My Piccolo's
Poor Piccolo. He always gets treated like shit. Now he can't even see his face. But
they thought he was
baby Gohan. Baby Gohan looks cute.
Yeah, season 1 Gohan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before they did the Namek.
Don't let Gohan get mad. That nigga will run up and headbutt your ass.
So, you guys are all Dragon Ball people?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I love Dragon Ball Z.
I only watched
first anime I fell in love with.
I only watched 2 series. I watched the Namek which was Frieza, and then the original one with Raditz.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. But it took too long for me. Like it'd be like 50 episodes of talking before they fought. Like God damn, they gonna throw a punch. But I still loved it though.
Keeps that suspense going because I started watching it because my brother taped over one of my VHS tapes with Dragon Ball Z. So then I kind of just said, "Well, what is this?" And I watched it. And I was like, I like this. So I loved the Frieza saga, but then he didn't record the Cell saga. So I went straight to, I was a latecomer. I went to the, with Majin Buu. And that was actually my favorite saga. I really liked that one a lot because Fat Buu was cute. I really loved him. And then I was like, how are they going to defeat this guy? There's no way, like nothing will destroy Buu.
Mm-hmm.
So they dragged you along for a long time, but you couldn't come up with a scenario. And then it was like, well, I won't say spoilers, but guys, watch it. You'll find out how he gets defeated or he doesn't. We don't know. Or do we? I don't know.
That was great, Shareen. What about you, Ellise?
Really
what was
great
your favorite
story.
saga?
Oh man. So I want to say that my favorite saga is the Frieza saga, but it has to be the Android saga. It has to be because you have the introduction of Trunks. Like that was amazing. And I love when Goku finds out, like, because Vegeta was all mad, like, Kakarot, there's only 3 Saiyans. The boy or in you. And then it's Trunks. And then who
that was a great impression, by the way.
Yeah.
You keep doing Vegeta's voice.
Keep going.
A little Dragon Ball trivia right here. You know what Kakarot means?
Yes. Carrot.
Carrot, yeah.
I
Dude's
always
name was
thought
Carrot.
it sounded like that. No way.
Dude's
And
name
what
was
language?
Vegeta's vegetable.
Raditz,
obvious.
What else?
You lying? What?
The two girls. I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z Super. They have, I think one of them's Kale. I forget the other girl. There's
Kale,
two Saiyan girls that turn Super Saiyan in the new Dragon Ball Z Super. They all have vegetable names.
I cannot get into Super or GT.
Super is amazing. You just have to go to the right episodes. Like when Frieza comes back, like you can skip the first part, basically when Frieza comes back and then they do the Tournament of Power where they get the 10 strongest Dragon Ball Z characters and they go fight the other 10 strongest characters from other universes. And there's a universe where the Saiyans are all women. And so there's Super Saiyan women that Goku and Vegeta and all them have to fight. Amazing fights. You have to watch it.
So the Saiyans aren't extinct. They're not.
Not in that universe.
No, this is the different universe. They're parallel universes where there's Namek never blew up. There's a different Frieza, and then the Super Saiyan. I mean, the strong Saiyans are women. So I'm gonna send you a clip. After this because I promise you, after you watch this clip, you're gonna be like, okay, I need to go watch the Tournament of Power.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And let us know what episode to start on because that, it takes me some time to get interested and I want to skip that part. GT, I tried. I didn't get too into it, but I really liked they had like these DVDs, like these movies that would come out. And I just remember there was one where Goku and Vegeta went inside of somebody's body. I don't know if it was Boo again.
Buu.
Yeah,
it was Majin
Buu.
Buu. Okay. Yeah, and then they did the fusion. I love that because Vegeta was like
he did not want to put that earring on.
He didn't.
Sure.
He didn't. But he seemed more human, like and playful in that episode, and I loved the relationship between the two. So that is one of my favorite out of the entire universe is that movie, and I have it somewhere, but I won't dig through boxes and waste your time. But I'm very happy to see that background. I'm glad this conversation came up. It's so exciting.
Yes, you're amazing, Ellise. Thank you for that background.
Thank you.
Nostalgia.
I've been called a nerd. Somebody called me a nerd recently. They were like, "You're low key a nerd," and I was just like, "Damn!" But well,
whatever.
You know what I'm doing, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Do what I want.
Yeah,
that used to be an insult, but now it's like the nerd culture sort of mainstream. So it's like
it's funny when
weird.
I take that backpack to the club. I took it to a club one time. Somebody was like, "Hey, yo, Dragon Ball Z," and I was like, "Hey, yo, yeah." The
Made a new friend.
Party started. I kept walking after that.
Oh, okay, never mind.
All right.
But you could, because I would have gone up to you in the club, and that reminds me. One time I went to a club. It was a line dancing place, and one of my friends brought a Switch. And so, like, we would dance, and then the band would go on, and they'd
Switch?
a Nintendo Switch. Sorry,
Sorry.
I love it.
It got a little kinky in there. No,
She was all excited. A Switch?
It's
Is that what you Switch?
no violence there. But yeah, and we were playing Mario Kart just like when songs came on that we didn't like. And we made a lot of friends that night. So I think being a nerd, that's a compliment now. I wouldn't have liked it in the past, but I'd be like, yes, nerds unite. Like, this is very exciting for me. So
Right. I love it.
I went through the struggle of being a nerd. I used to get made fun of. Now it's like the coolest thing in the world.
Is it?
Yeah, especially with all these
strange.
Marvel movies. we used to read the comic books, so like
Everybody's a
we
nerd
knew
now.
all these characters. They're like a new character comes, oh my god, this is new character. I'm like, bitch, like this motherfucker been out since like the 80s. Like I know who this guy is. It's crazy now, but I'm
There's
glad.
a dude I know in high school. He used to make fun of me for being into Star Wars. Now this dude's all of a sudden a super nerd. He has a Star Wars tattoo of a lightsaber on his arm and shit. I'm like, I don't even have one. I'm dead serious. I'm like, I don't even have one. But he used to make fun of me for this shit. Now he's like going to Comic-Con and shit like that. It's just like, yeah, it's like super mainstream now to be like a nerd, you know?
Yeah, but I feel like that old person who's like what you just said. Oh, I remember when they were in the comics. They're not a new character. It's like, yeah, GTA. It's like, I remember when GTA was top-down view on PS1. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, you kind of, you know, it's like the hipster, like, well, I remember what before it was cool, you know, so that's what I got going on.
They don't
So
really
Shareen,
remember.
Nah.
I got a fun fact for you. Did you know that GTA, the original one, was made on accident? And do you know why?
No, why?
I don't know if it's supposed to be a racing game, but it was just supposed to be a car game. And basically what had happened was when they made the game, it was buggy, that when the cops or when the cars would race with you or whatever they're trying to do, I forget exactly, but you can look this up. But what happened is they would like not really race you, but they would end up chasing you and ramming you over and over. And like they would play like, fuck, it's not working right. But then they'd be like, hey, this is kind of fun. So they would like just be driving on GTA and the cars would come behind and like you would try to avoid getting hit by the other cars so you can like finish whatever mission or race you're trying to do. And they're like, you know, let's just switch the game. Let's make these cop cars and let's have them chase around this car. And then like, we think that's more fun than the game we're trying to make. And so that's how GTA 1 came to be, because whoever created that part of the game, they didn't do it correctly and ended up being a bug. And now we have one of the greatest video game franchises in the history.
Yeah, I was going to say the rest is history. That's awesome. I did not know that. That's really interesting. I'm so glad that happened. You know, good things.
You can look up the details. I'm probably like only 70, 80% accurate on that story, but I know it's a fact.
A lot of good ideas are by accident.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know.
Did you know microwaves were made by accident?
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
They were originally a weapon in World War II by the Japanese to kill people. They were going to shoot microwaves at people and literally boil you alive. And then somebody was like, oh, you can, it just wasn't practical. It took a lot of power. And somebody discovered you can fucking heat your food up with it. And then
that's not how it happened, though. Somebody walked by with a Hershey bar in their pocket and the Hershey bar ended up melting. What the hell is going on? Oh, there's a microwave right here. I could use this for other things. Yeah. That would be a good episode down the line. We all come up with these random facts of things that happen by accident and just do an episode on that. But I mean, we're not really prepared for that. So before we move on to the morality questions we wanted to do, does anyone else have any anime or Dragon Ball Z, you know, fun fact stories before we move on?
I'm trying to remember if I wrote fan fiction for it, because I've been known to write fan fiction.
She has, I've read it.
Yeah. But I don't remember if I did a Dragon Ball Z one, but yeah, I don't know. If I do and I find it, I may share it, but that would be another, that'd be a story for another time. I don't know.
I would love to hear it.
I don't know how true this is. Like I said, I don't know how true this is, but I saw it on YouTube, but I don't know how true it is, but it sounds true, I guess. But they were talking about how some of the writers of like the original Dragon Ball, it got harder to write for it because they sort of wrote themselves in the corner by making the three Saiyans the only ones that can get powerful. So essentially, once you have one villain, the next villain has to be more powerful than the previous villain, or it's like you're going backwards. So every time somebody has to be more powerful, but the only ones that can defeat them then are the only Saiyans who can get more and more powerful. So then you make functionally the rest of the characters useless because now they're just liabilities because they can never get more power to even like think of the Android series. Like everybody else just stood around. They couldn't fight the androids, and they just essentially become liabilities.
Piccolo was the strongest for a little bit, for like 5-10 episodes.
Yeah.
But then so now it's like, how do you keep writing this? Because then, okay, you got to create drama. And if Goku dies, and it's like, then it just becomes a race to, well, we got to get the Dragon Balls, get Goku back. And Goku has to And so now you couldn't wrote anybody else. So it's just like, oh, it's cool, the lore, the way they set it up, but it's just like, oh, well, when we killed off all the Saiyans, and I was like, oh, well, only 3 characters can be functional in this show.
One more shameless promotion. DragonBall Super solves a lot of that issue.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stronger characters and it makes sense. And
yeah, I
don't want to give any spoilers, but there's this one motherfucker. This nigga is bad. Like he's whooping Goku's ass, whooping Vegeta's ass, putting hands on him. And man, I'm not gonna say nothing else because I want you guys to be surprised. But yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
I'm just wondering if the voice actors are the same because
they're
not. Okay. I thought they were the same.
Bulma is annoying. The new Bulma, and I'm like, what? I can't stand her voice. Goku is similar. Vegeta's not the same. His voice is not the same.
Really, that's kind of hard though.
The same. Well, if it makes a difference to you, Shareen, I watched all the episodes. I thought it was the same voice actor, so he sounds like Vegeta to me. I didn't notice any difference.
Maybe if I don't compare the two, because I haven't watched it in a long time. So maybe
don't go back. Just go to the Tournament of Power. I'll start you off right where they start fighting, so you ain't got to worry about nothing. And like you've watched Dragon Ball Z, so you'll know the 10 Dragon Ball Z fighters they're using. So I won't spoil who's on the team. It's really surprising, but now do you want me to send you the part where they form the team together or when they just start fighting as a team?
If they're familiar characters, let's see them form the team. I'm not opposed to that. And and then just Piccolo, somebody said something that made me think. I used to feel sorry for him because he was doing his best, but his best could never be as good as like the Saiyans. And I always thought of him as like a point guard. Like he's got a lot of assists, but at some point he's like, all right, I'm just gonna clean up and you guys handle it. Like I feel bad for Piccolo.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hug him, but I don't think he's gonna be down for that.
I don't think so either.
The turnaround on Piccolo, because if you go to Dragon Ball, just regular Dragon Ball, like he was the bad, like the villain, and then the fact that he hates Goku so much, yet he's Gohan's mentor, sensei, whatever, is crazy because he loves Gohan, and he died for Gohan in the who killed him? I think it was Nappa. Nappa killed him, to save Gohan. Like I don't like when Gohan ages out. I don't like Videl. Like I don't like all that. Mr. Satan, I hate that.
They fucked up right there. And then like before we move on, I want to play a quick game with the two of you, Ellise and Shareen. So I have the 10 in my head that are part of this super team from Dragon Ball Z. You guys name a few things on the team and I'll just tell you yes or no, see how many you guys can get.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Tien.
Yes.
Okay, with Tien's there, I want to say that, God, why am I having a British? I almost called him Shih Tzu. Chaozu?
No. All right, your turn. Well, it's my bad. I didn't explain it. You guys take turns. So now, Shareen, you get 2 guesses.
Bad. Oh, I was going to... You already mentioned Goku, so Goku. I'm just gonna take the easy ones because I don't even remember what happened the last this is after GT, right? Like
this is technically is before.
Oh, it's before. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So I get 2 guesses. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say Vegeta because you mentioned them, so I'm cheating now. You see.
Yeah.
But now it's gonna be hard. Okay.
So Goku, Vegeta, Tien.
Abi Trunks.
No Trunks.
Oh.
Okay.
Are we doing 1-on-1? Oh, okay. Let's
go ahead, Shareen.
Okay. Goten. How do you say his name? Gotenks?
Goten.
Now,
Goten.
Now, are you saying them fused or both or one?
I was saying it fused, I think, but no, Goten.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shoot. Okay.
What? Well, Gohan, Abi, right?
Gohan is part of the team.
Okay.
Krillin?
Krillin is part of the team.
Oh, damn, that's a good one. What are we at now?
Oh, I don't even know.
Let me pull it up.
Because you said Goku, you said Vegeta, we got Tien. You said Chaozu's not there, right?
Chaozu's not there.
Chaozu's not powerful.
You guys got 5.
5? Okay. Whose turn is?
It's your turn.
Piccolo.
Piccolo is part of the team.
Okay, so we're at 6. We got 4 more.
Okay. Hercules?
Hercules is not. Now, before we move on, I just want to say the next 4 are kind of really crazy. Like, you'd be surprised. So I don't know if you want it to be a spoiler or not, or if you want me to stop, or you guys want to keep guessing.
Oh, I want to go.
Okay, we're going on guessing.
Okay, it's going to be 17, right?
17 is part of the team.
18?
You kind of just picked 2, but yes, 17 and 18 are on the team.
So sorry.
Okay.
So there's 2 more.
Yeah, since you said surprising, Chi-Chi?
No, Chi-Chi's not part of the team.
Okay.
You got to go again.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Bulma?
Bulma? Seriously, Shareen? She can't fight.
I know.
Remember, these are the 10 strongest people
smart?
in the Dragon Ball Z universe.
Okay.
They're all fighters. Right. No one's technical or nothing like that.
Okay. Well, that was my guess. I messed that one up.
You guys are doing a lot better than I thought. Go ahead.
We're DBZ people.
I was even surprised by the team when I found out it was on the team. So,
but that's going back. That's going back to and I won't even take a long time on it, but to the video game thing where guys are, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but like, oh, you actually know what you're talking about? It's like, yeah, I mean, she's got a background, so but I can't think anyone else. But you're guessing now, right? I think it's your turn.
Oh shit. It's my turn. Dang, I'm trying to think who was up there training, man. I mean, the 10 strongest. Is Master Roshi?
Master Roshi is on the team.
No.
Isn't that dope?
Well, in Dragon Ball, he won the world thingy jiggy.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves one more. Dang. Shareen, you gotta.
You know, I think it's Gotenks because the fusion. I don't even know, but because when I said Goten, you were like, are you talking about fusion or one? So is that?
It's not Gotenks.
Oh, okay.
What?
Shoot.
Man.
No.
I think I know the last one.
It's your turn.
Majin Buu.
Technically, but no.
What?
He was the 10th member. However, right before the tournament, this fat nigga fell asleep and missed the tournament. So they had to get a last minute replacement. And I'll just say this is one of the most shocking replacements. So the shock factor, if there's no shock factor with this pick, then it's not the pick. So your turn, Shareen.
Oh.
Wait, or did you say Boo? Or was that
Ellise? No, she said Boo, and then you said not really, and then I said Kid Boo, but it was that he fell asleep, which I can see that happening. Or should it remain a surprise, or do you think we should keep guessing? What do you think?
All right, how about this? You guys each get 2 more guesses. If you don't guess it, then it will be a surprise.
Okay. It's really hard. I'm going through my what was his name? Oh man, I would have done some homework so I can refresh my memory.
Well, we didn't expect to have this conversation.
I know.
Ellise has a fly ass background over there.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot her name. Oh, Videl.
No.
Okay.
God, I hate her. She's the worst. Oh, geez. Is it Mr. Satan?
No. One more guess each.
He sucks.
Is it another like villain who we may have seen?
Yes.
Okay. Cell?
No, not Cell.
Okay.
I really need to know who it is. And so you said it's a villain. So I'm going through my villains and I can't, because I'm thinking if Raditz is dead, Nappa is dead. Those were the villains from season 1. Season 2, the only villain that I could think of would be Frieza.
That's your final answer?
Yeah.
It is Frieza.
Oh, that's cool.
No.
You know what? Okay, you mentioned Frieza was in it. You said that, but then I was like, not part of the tournament. But that makes it interesting. I'm invested now. Like, I've got to put a picture to this. I got to watch it. So send us those episodes.
Okay, this is a slight spoiler, but you kind of already know, so you'll piece it together. There is a Frieza saga in Super where they do fight Frieza. And then obviously something happens, somebody wins, somebody loses, whatever. But because Majin Buu falls asleep and they need a 10th or else they forfeit, they have to use all their resources, and the strongest person left after Majin Buu is Frieza.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
So congratulations. You guys guessed that, man. That was very impressive.
Virtual high five, Shareen.
All right. Sorry about that, C-Rock.
Good teamwork. Good teamwork.
Sorry.
Since you've been out of the mix for so long, we'll go ahead and move on. And Chris?
First of all, all right. So like I was saying, we're going to call this one Fumbling the Relationship. You know, some of y'all cats have fumbled the bag before, but some of y'all have fumbled the relationship, you know, I being somebody. So, but the story I'm going to tell is about 2 people who happen to not be me. And they're 2 friends. And I know the female half of this a little better than the male half, but we're going to call the male half, we're going to codename him Mark. So my female friend approaches me one day and she tells me this story right here. So she tells me, hey, Chris, Mark DM me and he's been, he asked me for my number and we've been talking for a long time. So I'm like, hey, that's cool. So how's it going? So she's like, well, so, when you hear that, well, there's a lot to the stories. So I'm like, all right, come on with it. So she's just like, yeah, we've been talking for a couple weeks and he's kind of boring. Like, she's like, I always have to carry the relationship or initiate the conversation and, stuff like that. So that brings us to the first fumble right there is, gentlemen, come close. And I think the ladies are backing me up here. If you're going to ask a woman for her number, at least have something to talk about, man. Don't ask her for her number and then just be boring and shit. You know what I mean? And I don't want to throw out general advice, but the best way you can do that is have something going on in your life. Have some hobbies. Have something interesting to talk about. Learn conversational skills. That's how most of y'all will fumble the whole situation. What do they say in NASA? Failure to launch. You know what I mean? Like, you'll failure to launch that whole situation right then and there. So, hey, ladies, have you ever had something like that happen to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Recently, I had a friend. I live in a very small town. It's a lot of older people here. So I have a friend who works up at the restaurant in town. And she texted me one day and said, there are young guys up here, like tourists who came and hiked, which hiking is a hobby of mine as well. So she's like, you got to get up here and talk to this guy. So I go up and make an effort. He's the one who seems more interested and we have a lot in common and we're talking there. And then he said, you know what? I'd love to talk to you again. So I actually gave him a shot, like, all right, we could talk. We'll have plenty to talk about. I figured because we both hike and, he's up here. So then he texts me a couple times, one of the times saying he's coming back up here to do another hike and then he's going to go back to the restaurant. So the day comes and I say, yeah, I'll meet you up there. And then nothing. So then a few weeks later, he's like, so anyway, here's a picture from my hike. But I wasn't really interested to begin with. It felt like it was more on his end. So you got to show something because I'm not the one really pursuing you. I kind of left the door open. And then it fizzled away. Like it just meant nothing to me because we didn't, have the opportunity to build anything. So I felt like I was putting an effort forth just to see what would happen from it, whether it was a friendship or whatever. And if he was interested in any way, which he seemed to be, because he was the one who wanted to, exchange contact information, then he let it just kind of go away. And I don't think it was because of any situation that happened. So yeah, if you don't show interest or, come up with something, which in this case would have been very easy, having a shared interest, something in common, I'm not going to stick around and wait for what. So anyway, that's what that reminded me of, what you just said.
Or
wait,
hey,
so
Ellise,
did he flake on you? Did he not even meet you at the restaurant? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we didn't make solid plans. He was just saying, hey, I'm going to be up there next Saturday, and then I'm going to be at the restaurant. So then the day came and neither one of us communicated. So I was kind of thinking,
Wow.
so I was kind of thinking like, oh, well, he'll let me know. And I made sure that I was dressed and everything. So because I guess I could have said like, hey, are you up here? But it was kind of like the ball was in his court.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I did answer that text like, oh, great, like I'll be up here. And that was it. And then the day came and then nothing happened. So that's fine. It's I'm not the type to really pursue anything, but as my friend was insisting, like, come up here and meet some people, we're usually just around the retired folks. So now's your chance. And then that was his chance too. And nothing happened. So I don't feel like I need to text him again. It just went nowhere. So that's fine with me, but I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to chase you for the conversation, basically.
Hey, Ellise, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
If you met a guy,
Actually, you're supposed to say charming before the Ellise part.
Charming.
I'm not always charming, so it's fine.
All right. So if you met a dude and he asked you for your number and he had nothing to talk about, would you give him a date?
I talk. I think I have the ability to talk a lot, but damn, it's that would be so awkward. I feel like first dates, I like to do something quick. So like if it doesn't work out, we can go home. Like, drinks is cool because usually that brings it out. I dated one guy and he took me to get coffee and I was like, yes, please, because if it's not working out, I'm out. But I don't want to just sit there and stare at you and have some questions ready. Pull up an article, But usually I think a lot of arrogant people like to come to me. So it's not like a super issue, but I think when a guy is pretty shy, that's when they're like, what do you like to do? Like
Definitely.
Then it starts to feel like an interview and you're sitting there asking all the questions and it's like, man, I'm getting tired. I can't come up with anything else. So give me something, please.
Yes,
I think the worst question I've been asked on a date was I went on a date with a white guy and he's like, so do you date black guys? And I'm like, whoa. Not your business.
Wow.
I did that. I was like, well, yeah, I'm black. So, so it depends on the questions.
Yeah.
Check please. Yeah, so there you have it, fellas. Please have some conversation skills because, like I said, that could be a failure to launch. But, my homegirl, going on further in the story, my homegirl still gives him a first date. And like I said, so they go on the first date and she's just like, yeah, she's like, I got cute. She was like, I did my makeup and whatever. And we met at a restaurant. And this guy shows up wearing a pair of basketball shorts, a t-shirt, and some sneakers. So I'm like, all right.
I gotta interject real quick.
What's up?
When you got to hoop with the boys at 8, but you got a date at 9. That was his outfit.
Like I should have hooped in some better clothes. Like, damn, dog, why you out here in a suit? Like, I got a date.
Yeah.
Like, hey, nigga, you trying to run it back, Mark? Like, no, I got a date after this. You ain't gonna shower, nigga? No,
Nope.
nigga, I'm going straight to the restaurant, man.
Straight up,
Sweaty.
dude, like straight up, dude. So I'm just like, that's fumble number 2. Like, look, fellas, come close again. Come close. Look, man, if you're not sure of the situation, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So if you go out on a date and you're not sure if you're not sure what's going on between you and this woman, still dress nice. You know, he could have at least put on, you know, a collared shirt, some nice jeans, and some tennis shoes. But basketball shorts and shirts and a t-shirt, I mean shirts, and a t-shirt. It's like, Ellise Shareen, do you think you would have went through with that date if you go, you know, you meet a dude and he show up dressed like that?
Are we going to Dave and Buster's? If we're going to Dave and Buster's, that's a little bit different. Like, if our first date is at Sky Zone, like, okay, then that's cool. But if we walk into a restaurant and you look like you just rolled out of bed, I'm gonna feel some type of way. I'm gonna feel, I don't know. Suri, what do you say?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Dave and Buster's is a great first date, so I'm for that. I think that would break the ice pretty well. But if we're going to dinner and that's known, at least show that you care enough to make it an effort, because it's kind of like if you go to a job interview, you're not going to come in basketball shorts because you want to get the job. So it's like, this is not what the expectation is every date, that we need to be formal all the time. But you know that we're probably going to, you know, get our hair done, put on some makeup, think about it. And if you show up looking like you just really didn't care, then I'm going to think I'll probably go through with the date just because I'm polite, but there probably won't be a second one, because I would think he's just not that into it if he's looking like that. And, you know, so put some effort, you know, hygiene is very important. Shower, please.
Wash what do we say, JayMan?
Wash your ass.
Hygiene's important.
Get a wash your ass rag.
You know?
And don't use it on your face. Nothing else. Just wash your ass and have another rag for everything else. And then another one for your face. So 3 rags.
Yes. Yes, please. So,
3 rags and a loofah.
But or let me ask you this, Ellise. Have you sorry. Let me ask you this, Ellise. Have you ever heard a conversation with dudes where like they've said that they think it's gay to wash their ass so they don't do it in the shower?
No.
Okay.
No. Everybody on here washes their booty, right?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody washes their
booty. But on Twitter,
I've had a couple of female friends tell me that they've dated dudes that like don't wash because they think it's gay to like open up the cheeks and get the soap and water in there. Yeah.
It sounds like a personal problem.
I'm not even joking.
That sounds like a fear.
Yeah, right.
If you go on Google and like you type in like men not washing their ass, there's like some horror stories on Reddit, and it's terrifying. Yeah. And it's kind of funny. Like we gotta actually do an episode about being homophobic, but it's like, what do you expect to happen? Like you spread your cheeks and wash your ass, and the dick is gonna pop up in there. Like,
right? Have you been to prison?
Like,
that would be my question.
Yeah,
like that's not how being gay works. Like,
right?
You don't wash your ass, and all of a sudden there's a dildo up your ass. Like that's not what washing your ass is about. It's about using water and soap. Like, come on. Now.
Dick fairy just comes out of nowhere. Dick fairy, as soon as you open it up.
Yeah. Like who lives in? Yeah. That is very strange.
They think they're gonna wash their ass, and while they washing their ass, that flashlight song gonna come on, and then they gonna start twerking like, "Hi,
material girl."
You know, like, they gonna turn into Meg Thee Stallion in the goddamn, in the fucking shower or something. I don't know. But like I said,
I'm sorry, yeah, I got a little.
No, that was a good tangent. That was a good tangent, bro. Wash your ass. Put a picture of me and JayMan in a poster right there, pointing at you. You know, hey, wash your ass. Only you can wash your own ass. You know,
we get Smokey the Bear for that.
Yeah.
So, only you can wash between your. You can wash between your own ass cheeks. But fellas, you heard it again from the ladies. Put in some effort on your attire, and because you showing effort when you show up on that first date, bro. So, like I said, a lot of women, you would have never seen them again and been on the internet mad listening to Andrew Tate talking about feminism and shit. But anywho, but going on, so there's another part of that date right there to where it goes right back into washing your ass and hygiene. So she had told me like dude had picked her up in his car, and she was just like, yeah, he has a bucket. And so I'm just like, she's like, yeah, And I'm like, okay. So I pushed back a little bit on this. So I was like, so what? Now you gonna knock the dude for having an old car? And she was like, no. But the fact of it is like it had 3 different window tints on it, and 3 different color window tints. It was dirty. It was dirty inside. He had water bottles all on the ground on the side that she was sitting on. She was like, and it smelled bad inside. So it goes right back to, hey, bruh, if you go. And I even asked her, I was like, look, was that date on like was it like on a whim? Did you guys like decide like an hour before? Did he know all day he was gonna go on the date with you? And she was like, nah, we had planned it days before. I was like, all right, there's no excuse for that. No. Like there's none, bro. Like you don't pick up a girl you interested in your dirty ass car, because when we say wash your ass and we talk about hygiene isn't just on your physical body. It's your living space, your house, your bed, and your car. So if you keep your car dirty, how would you keep your house?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I actually think that's worse than the basketball shorts, especially if it smells bad, because I feel like that just kind of shows what your lifestyle is like. You just really don't care. And when you get to somebody's car and then they're like, oh, just give me a second. And then you're standing out there for 20 minutes while they're just going around, like hiding the wrappers. It's like, okay, that's not a good sign, especially if you knew about it, and like right now my car is clean, but there'll be times where I'll have a couple pairs of shoes in there. But if I know that someone's going to be in my car, like I will make an effort. I'm not saying I'm clean all the time and there's never clutter, but it's going back to how much you care. Like if you really are thinking about this and this is important to you, you're going to clean yourself up. You're going to make the person comfortable. And I'm not going to be comfortable sitting in a smelly car. Like it's just not going to happen. So I'll walk. I'll ride my bike and we'll meet.
Damn,
I'll
girl.
be a couple hours late, but I'll get some exercise.
I'll Uber.
Yeah. Okay. That's a better idea. That's a better idea.
Shareen really loves her hikes. She's going to hike on to a date.
I'll hike. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my back seat is not the best, but I at least make my passenger seat available because I don't know if somebody's gonna need a ride from catch up with somebody. But one time I did go on a date and I went to he didn't get the door for me. So I got the door myself and the fucking door handle just fell off. And I was like,
oh,
shit. Your door handle. And he was like, that happens all the time. And I was like, nigga, why'd you get the door for me? Because you can jiggle it better than I was so embarrassed. I was like, he's going to make me pay.
I got to interject really quickly for a side story. Speaking of broken door handles, one time this nigga C-Rock broke my door handle to get into the passenger seat, and like the way he brought it to my attention was so ridiculous. I was so pissed. We were just sitting there. I opened my car and then I just hear a sound and he looks at me. He's like, Jay, I got some bad news, player. I'm like, what are you talking about? He just lifts his hand up. I just see the door handle in his hand. He doesn't even explain what happened. He just shows me the results of what he just did.
Yeah.
And like I think the fucked up part was my car was the old school, like back in the 90s. So I had to reach over to unlock it for him. So he was trying to open it when the door was locked. And then he just like fucking pulled the motherfucker off. So I was driving around in that 1999 red Mitsubishi Eclipse with no car handle on the passenger seat and no rear view mirror on the passenger seat either. So the whole passenger side was just all fucked up. I even had a donut on the front passenger wheel for a while because I got a flat and I didn't have money for no tires. So I was just, CR was like, hey man, just don't go over 50 miles per hour on that donut. I was like, fuck it. I'm rocking this donut for a couple months. So yeah, the struggle.
Well, at least you didn't have an actual donut in the passenger seat. I think it's a money thing. Like you're trying to get your finances in order. You didn't leave food.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I'll forgive you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've been in the Eclipse a couple times, Shareen.
Yeah, of course. Where the bass was okay. You're gonna tell that story. I better not say this, but it had some crazy bass in that car. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Shareen made a very interesting comment about the vibration and the bass. I'll go ahead and leave it at that, unless Shareen wants to share.
No, you tell it better than I do. So.
Yeah, you said it.
I did.
All right,
But
somebody tell the story.
It's your car.
yeah, it's your car.
I forgot what she said.
Something about
Space.
with this. Yeah, with this.
I just remember the
vibration.
vibration was going off, and then I think Shereen's got it.
Yeah, like with this vibration, I don't need a man. I said something stupid like that, but something stupid like that. But that was a fun car. I really liked riding around in that. I didn't notice it didn't have a door handle. You must have gotten it fixed by the time I was in it. So good job. See, you got your life together.
That was actually my my new car that got the base, the Honda Fit.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that car does have a door handle. But
Okay,
one of the
good.
windows doesn't go down. One of the windows doesn't go down in the back seat.
That's
one of
okay.
my Uber riders broke it, I think.
You should
Oh yeah,
charge
we
them.
gotta do an Uber episode, man.
I was
That's
just gonna
some
say
Uber stories.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some
did.
of those. Yeah.
You did.
I have one good for one.
Word. Hey, we already off on a tangent. Let's go on then.
I know, right?
Oh, my bad.
No,
So
I mean, fuck
bro's
it.
car was dirty. Oh.
No, I want to hear it. Go ahead. You know?
I mean, it don't have to be like a Benz or anything. If it's paid off, hey, his credit must be good, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him that.
Yeah, I guess. But my whole thing is, it's like it's inexcusable to have your car dirty 2023. Like, especially if you're going on a date. Like, you can go to the 99-cent store and buy shit to clean it. So I mean, like, and then you could have at least rolled it through the gas station, car wash or something. Like, you didn't have to like just show up dirty.
Yeah. And just a quick comment, Ellise made me think of this. It's like, I don't even think about what kind of car you might be rolling up in, like, oh, it needs to be a fancy car. I don't even care. But yeah, the very least you can do is make sure it smells nice. And I had this I won't even tell the story, but I had bark beetles in my car because I left some firewood in there and they hatched and it was disgusting. I went and vacuumed my car. I had to put maybe like 15 quarters to get all of them, but I knew I was going to have a passenger. And it was my coworker. And I was like, you know what? I can't have bark beetles crawling on her. So it's disgusting. They're gone now. But just thinking of the other person, I think is so important, relationship or not. But you're trying to impress somebody, like, please wipe it down. Wipe it down. Air freshener.
Yeah.
One thing I will ask, did he have kids? Because
No.
kids can mess up us. Oh, okay, yeah, now it's
He's they're both in their mid-20s and childless, so it was just dirty because he didn't want to clean it. Like, it's just so that would have turned many women off right there, and he probably would have never seen him again. But she still goes on with the situation with this dude, and so I think this right here is the final straw. So he invites her to go to a baseball game, an Angels game. She has no interest in sports or nothing, but she agrees to go because it's something that he likes or whatever, right? So, and she drives this time to the game. So she drives. He agrees. He agrees to pay for the tickets. So whatever, all right. So, California, we get a lot of traffic, but a lot of times, especially if it's a regular season baseball game, when you get there and the game's already started, they'll make the tickets really, really cheap. So they get there and he wants to buy these nosebleed seats that are way up there, even though like the game isn't packed. And he wants to get them because they're $5. So she's like, hey, we can get much closer and get like some seats that are way, way down closer for like $20 each. Mm-hmm. So he's like, yeah, no. He didn't want to pay. She's like, I don't want to sit way up there. He didn't want to pay at all. So she ended up having to buy the tickets. Oh. So she bought the tickets and they went to the game. And then and I know this was the end of it because she was like, I was last straw. I'm not going out with him no more. And she was like, I'm cutting it right here because she was like, hey, she's a young, pretty girl. she's like, I got guys wanting to take me out, wanting to buy me things. And this dude won't even pay for some $20 tickets, that for a game that I didn't even want to go to. And I drove my car and did my part and stuff like that. So fellas, like, I understand, like, you might not want to meet a gold digger, But the difference between $10 and $40, that's just being cheap and stupid. And again, most women would have left your ass there, especially if they were in their car. You know what I mean? So, like, look, bro, like, you can't be that cheap. You can't, like, especially when you invite somebody somewhere. You can't be like that, you know. So that was the final fumble. And
wait, didn't you say that he shushed her or something during the game,
I brought
or something like that?
No, that was at on the date where he shushed her for the basketball game. Didn't I bring that up?
I don't think. No, you didn't.
Oh, okay. Let me go back. If I didn't bring this up, I might not have brought it up. So here's another thing. Like, I think I did, but I'm gonna tell it again. It was on a different date. Maybe the first date, maybe the second date. I can't exactly remember, but they were at a restaurant. There was a basketball game on, and dude wanted to watch the game, and she was talking, and he shushed her. He was like, "Hey, shh, hold on." And then it's just like, nah, bro. Like, you can't do that. You gotta keep your attention on your woman, on the woman in the date, bro. Like, or on your woman. Like, let's be real. I've been with my wife we've been married for 15 years. So I mean, like, if I shushed her today, like on a date, we went on a date and I shushed her, like, y'all I'd be a missing person player. I'm telling y'all be like, I disappear player. You don't shush a woman like that to watch a baseball game. That's so disrespectful. So I
you'd
guess
be
that's
walking
one
around
thing.
with 4 fingers.
Yeah.
Damn.
You bite that off.
Right?
Yeah.
Aren't you at a restaurant with the knives?
She
Oh yeah.
did some Kill Bill shit.
Charming Ellise, everybody. Charming Ellise.
But rightfully so. Like, that's so disrespectful. That's so, like, I couldn't believe this. And she still went out with this dude again. And like, and then, like, you know, she was just like, hey, like I said, after the baseball game, that was the final straw. And like, y'all got to understand, like, when you're dealing with a lot of these women, like, they got options. Like, and player, you gotta show up and bring your A game. It's like trying to make an NFL roster or something. Homie. You gotta bring your A game, but you know, because it's just that is her reality, and I didn't fault her for it. Like, to be like, when she was like, I got dudes wanting to buy me stuff, and I got stuff like this, and I'm over here. This dude won't even spend $40, you know, for a baseball game. You know, like, it's like, yeah, bro. Like, so, you know. And then subsequently, too, there's been other times after that, like, she just told him after that, like, hey, man, I don't want to talk to you like that. We can be friends. And he would still invite her out and, like, keep inviting her out. And she went a couple times, and he'd, like, invite her out to breakfast or to lunch or something. And then, like, expect her to pay for herself. It's like, why are you continuously inviting somebody out? And it's like, you know, some levels, like, dog, like, this type of behavior is why you fumbled the situation from being anything that it could have been. It could have been a boyfriend, girlfriend situation, or even just a casual, like, hey, you know, we hang out and hook up every now and then. It could have been something more positive than nothing from what he got from it. And all because of his shitty behavior. And it's just like, hey, bro, don't, in your own relationship, in your own situation, don't fumble it with these things. And that's why I want to bring it up on this episode, because it's like, you know, I've seen some of this done, and to be honest, I've done some of it, and I think it's a good lesson. So let's segue into the next part. JayMan Jay, have you ever fumbled a relationship?
Not to sound arrogant, but I really don't feel like I have.
Oh man.
Oh,
arrogant.
I think there was a relationship.
Perfect over here.
There's a lot of relationships where I obviously made a lot of mistakes. But I felt like every time, well, maybe whenever I lost a relationship, I always felt like there was a weight off my shoulders. Like, for example, I was dating this one girl, and like, now that I look back, she was miserable, like, just unhappy in her day-to-day life. She didn't really get along with her family. And I realized, like, I was her, like, only outlet for happiness. So like if I was busy, like, you know, if I took a nap, if I was working, if I was just playing video games, like she would have a problem if like I wasn't getting back to her right away all the time. And like just smothering, like expecting me to make her happy every day. And it's like, you know, sometimes you got to figure this shit out. And then she ended up getting like, she's really insecure and jealous. Like she kept going through my phone. She was jealous that I had women friends. Like she would go through the messages. I wasn't cheating or doing anything wrong, but she would be going through the messages and just upset that like I had a friendship with a woman outside of the relationship. And then she tried to justify it with like, oh, well, I don't have any guy friends, so you shouldn't have any girlfriends. Like, well, I wasn't your friend matchmaker. I'm not the reason you don't have any guy friends. And if you did, like, that's perfectly fine. Like, I wouldn't be with you if I didn't trust you. And so, and she ended up getting to the point where she just like slowly just kept pushing me away. And I was like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. And then we had broken up, and then it was kind of funny. We reconnected like, I don't know, a couple months later. Like we were both dating somebody else and ended up not working out. And then she hits me up and like we just meet up like for lunch. And then she's like, oh, I just want you to know, like, we're just friends. Like nothing's ever going to happen again. I was like, all right, that's cool. That's fine. And then she randomly hits me up. And then she's just like, oh, like I'm on this boring date. Like this guy is so boring. I want to get out. She's like, is it cool if I come over after? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then she starts kind of playing that game where she's like, oh, so like, are you expecting something to happen? I was like, well, you kind of said like you didn't want anything to happen. So like, I respect your boundaries. And then she's like, what if I don't want you to respect my boundaries? Oh, here we go. And then, so she comes over. Come to think of it, I wonder if it's your coworker. I'm just kidding. So she comes over. She comes over with some leftovers from the restaurant they were at, and then we end up hooking up. You know, I'm over there giving her back shots, and then I eat the pizza she left over. So I'm just thinking in my head, like, damn, this nigga done took this girl out, wined and dined her. She took the leftovers home to my house. I ate this nigga food. He paid for it. Oh no, it's not your coworker, because this dude actually paid for the meal. So
damn, Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say my bad, Mark, but no, this is Mark Plus. This is the premium version. He's boring, but at least he pays for the meals. And then so the next day, she's just like, oh yeah, I just want you to know, like, it didn't work out the first time. Like, I don't want a relationship, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, you kind of, you know, let me know, you know, I wasn't even expecting to hook up, but, you know, it is what it is. And then she goes on a different day with another guy the next week. And the same thing, she just ends up coming over to my house. And it's kind of like a, you know, a little pattern. And then the following week, I don't know if she was on a date or not that week. She just tried to come over, and I told her I was hanging out with this girl, and she like blew up on me. She's like, oh my God, like you're playing games and I can't believe you did this. Like we hooked up the last 2 weekends. Like, what'd you expect to happen this weekend? And I'm like, bitch, you just went on 2 dates with 2 different guys. And then her reply is, we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about you. And I was just like, oh my goodness gracious. And that's when I kind of realized, like, I need to stay away from this girl. She's the devil. Something's not right with her head. And I was perfectly fine being casual, communicating with her, like, hey, like I'm hanging out with this other girl. And I wasn't even hooking up with the other girl. It was she just hit me up like to go to the movies or something. And I just went, and then she just happened to hit me up that night, and I didn't want to lie. So yeah, so that's the only situation I could think of where like somebody is the opposite. I think like somebody had fumbled me, but you know,
JayMan don't fumble relationships. They fumble JayMan.
Yeah.
She would have ate you out of house and home. It feels like she's just going on dates to get dinner.
Yeah.
She had these niggas feeding me, and I was the one hooking up at the end of the night.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I kind of feel bad for these niggas out here. Like, and I was even thinking back for a while. I was like, damn, I wonder like some of these girls I met online and like went on like just one date and like, you know, never talked to her again or whatever. And like, she probably went to her ex-boyfriend's house and like smashed him after the day. I don't pay for her meal.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, women out here doing it like that. But
It's
more
better
power
not.
to them, man. I ain't mad at it. Cause I got some
Yeah.
fire ass pizza out of it. So
It's better not to think about it.
but there is one situation I would say I fumbled. I was dating this one girl like in my mid-20s, and she was like really, really great girl. Like she was going to school and everything. She already had a really good job. I was still pretty like, I know C-Rock and Shareen knows, I was still pretty immature in my mid-20s. So I was still all about just partying, not really looking to like save money, buy a house, stuff like that. So she's trying to like, she was on that shit where she was like trying to get her finances in order, work on her credit. And like, I was still trying to party and stuff like that. And she got tired of that after like 6-7 months. But the problem is she never, like she would bring it up like, oh yeah, like I want you to work on your credit and this and that. But she never brought it up to the point where like, she was like, okay, like if you don't start working on this, like I'm gonna have to move on. Like this relationship's gonna be over. She just told me, you know, over and over. Like I said, I was immature, so I wasn't really listening. And then one day out of the blue, well, actually it wasn't out of the blue, something had happened. So like it was actually around my birthday, maybe my 24th, 25th birthday, something like that. And like we're planning like my party, and like she's talking about like her friends coming and this and that. And then she's like making plans for it and like trying to get everything set up. And then she starts telling me about a guy friend of hers where that they're gonna like have a girls and guys trip to Vegas. And I wasn't really cool and close with her friends. So I was like, hey, that's fine. Like you can just, you know, go off and do your own thing. Because like she would go on trips by herself all the time. It never really bothered me. Cause like I said, if I trust you and we're in a relationship, well, I mean, if I didn't trust you, we wouldn't be in a relationship. So like, it doesn't bother me if I'm dating somebody and like they go on a trip, you know, without me. I know that's a no-no for some people or a red flag for some people, but that doesn't move me. But so she's planning this trip like with her guy friend's birthday, and then like she's telling me about the trip and then planning my birthday. And then like as the date gets closer, like she starts telling me when she's gonna be out of town. I'm like, wait, like you're gonna be out of town this weekend? She's like, yeah, that's the weekend we're all going to Vegas. I'm like, that's my birthday weekend that we've been planning for this whole time. And then she like, oh my God, like she felt so bad in the moment. But afterwards, like 2 or 3 days later, like she spends the night at my house. And in the morning, I don't know why, but in the morning when we're getting up for work, she breaks up with me in the morning, which is fucking weird. And then she ends up going it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. She ends up going that Friday night to Vegas. And so like, that's a situation where I kind of fumbled, I guess, but like she was the one in the wrong mostly because she never communicated like, hey, like if you don't start getting your shit together, like I don't want to be in this relationship. She kind of used that weekend as an excuse to break up with me. And then she's texting me on her trip like, oh my God, like I'm so sorry. She's drunk, you know, like there's no other guy for me. Like I only want you. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck you doing in Vegas with like this other nigga I don't even know, like, you know. And then that's kind of like the end of that. So like I think that's the closest I've came to where I would say fumbling a relationship. I fumbled like girls that I was dating, like, you know, the first few dates or whatever, but like a serious relationship, I guess that's probably the only time. So
yeah, you know, listening to that story, I was waiting for the part where you fumbled. Like, I kind of feel like you weren't really in the wrong. And then also I think, you were partying and it seemed like maybe you were more of the immature one because she appeared to have her things together because she was more focused on work. But I think emotionally you sounded like you were the more mature one. And that's why I didn't really want to get into serious relationships in my 20s, because I feel like emotional maturity is so important, like to have that trust.
Yeah.
And the lack of communication seems to be the common thread here. It's just lack of communication. So I think that is so important. It's probably the most important thing. So it doesn't really sound like you were the one in the wrong, because I feel like you were always trying to communicate and you're very open. And even when you've had your relationships and we've hung out, you have always been respectful 100% of the time, more than anyone else I've ever known. So and introducing me to the person that you are in a relationship with. And so I think for anyone out there, like, Jay's very, very trustworthy and respectful. That is one thing about you that I really admire. Yeah, of course.
I appreciate you for that. It's very sweet.
It's true.
So Ellise, you ever fumbled a relationship? Hello?
Okay, probably.
There we go.
I would be honest, right? I mean, I want to say, how would I have fumbled? Okay, I have a good one. So I was dating this one guy, and with me, I like consistency. Like, I love, like, you gotta, if you do, I don't know, I just like, Shareen, am I crazy? I love consistency. Like, I like you to, one guy, he just kind of like went AWOL for like, I want to say like a week or so. And I'm like, to me, that's ghosting. No text, no call.
Oh, ghosting. Okay.
Ghosting. Okay, I should have said that. He ghosted me. So I texted him like, hey, well, like, what's going on? And I didn't hear anything. Oh my God, I left a MLA formatted essay, text message saying, you know what? I'm good. I don't need you. Blah, 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 blah. All this shit. And I was just like, and then afterwards I'm thinking like, he's not even my man. Like, why, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I have a quick reaction sometimes. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But that's probably the closest I've been to like fumbling is me and my mouth. Like, I mean, I try to hold my tongue for a long time, but you know, when you hold your tongue for a long time, you're holding it in, it's gonna come out, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I did. I mean, there is one time that I dated a guy, and you tell me what you think. So I was working as a teacher's assistant, and this guy's an attorney. So we went out to eat, and he's just like, you gotta check. I'm not really a huge meat eater, but he's like, you gotta go to this barbecue spot. It's so good. Like, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, I'm not really a meat eater. And he's like, no, but you have to try it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. So I go, and I'm looking at the menu, and I'm always mindful of the price, even though he's an attorney. And I got a plate that was probably like $19.95, like some fish and some fries and a drink. Mm-hmm. This guy orders a big ass thing of barbecue nachos, steak, 2 sides, 3 drinks. And I'm like, oh, he's a grown man. He can do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I'm having an all right time with it. And then the bill comes. And then like, I'm thinking like, well, either you're going to pay, I can pay for myself, or you're going to pay. He's like, do you want to go Dutch? And I'm like, what's Dutch? Do you guys know what Dutch is?
Yeah.
Is that splitting it down the middle?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No.
So oh my God, he must have ordered like $60 worth of food. Yeah, it had to be $60 because the bill was like $120. I had to pay $60 for basically to end the date. That was the last he saw of me. I was like, how are you an attorney and gonna make me pay for your food? And then I talked to one of my guys.
Hey, maybe he's a really good attorney.
That's a good one.
Well, he fumbled. I hope he doesn't see this episode. But my guy friend was like, he's just
fuck him.
I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want any charges brought up against me. What's it called?
Yeah.
We talk about stuff like
that nigga be suing.
So he allegedly asked you to go Dutch. He weren't there.
I was like,
make up
no, you go. Make up a what?
Yeah, I was gonna say to make up a code name for him. Man.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say his name because if he hears his name, I'm being sued. I'm being sued.
Yeah.
But that was probably the last time. I remember my guy friends were like, he was probably just testing you to see if you're money hungry. And I'm like, then why did he get a $20 and I would have paid my half or whatever. But that to me was not cool. I was just that was the last time I saw him.
Hey, you brought up a good point too about hey fellas, don't test a woman like that. Like if you're thinking about doing some shit like that, like nah, don't. you're not going to find out how somebody is by testing them like that. You're going to have to you're going to have to observe who they are by being around them for a long time and being observant of their behavior. You don't show up on a first date and get them to try to pay for your damn food like that, bro. That's just
steak.
Yeah. This is how you fumble the relationship. That's how we talking about it, player. That's how y'all end up on TikTok watching Andrew Tate and angry as fuck.
Speaking of testing. Oh, go ahead, Shareen. You can.
I was just gonna say real quick. And it sounded like you were being very considerate because you didn't want to order the steak or whatever, and so you were willing to pay for your meal anyway. But it just seems like in a lot of these stories, like with the baseball game, it's the guy being. It could be the girl too, but in these situations, it's being very inconsiderate. So you're not considering maybe this person would want to go somewhere where there's seafood, not to barbecue place. Maybe if they don't enjoy baseball, and you want to make sure that the person has a good experience. So get the better tickets. And when it's my turn to like set up, if it's my idea, then I'm going to think of the other person, like where might they want to eat? Where might they want to go? And then I'll try to make that a good experience. So it's kind of like, it should be back and forth, but it sounds to me like you were being very considerate and like being careful and thinking this all out. And he's just like, I'm going to get all this and let's split it down the middle. So that's a bad sign right there. It's not about being a gold digger. I just want to say that, you know,
you dodged the bullet on that one.
Yeah.
I certainly go.
And then,
I'm sorry, Jay knows my brother. So every time that I tell him something, I'm like, please, dear God, don't forward this to my brother.
He don't even text me back no more. So I don't think he's even watching the podcast.
He got hella kids.
Oh yeah, that's fair. But what I was going to say, speaking of testing, I actually had a girl test me once, and the most craziest, this is the girl from the first story. The one that was going on dates with dudes and then coming to my house to smash afterwards. So to all that, this is the beginning, like when we had first met. So I went to take a shower apparently, and I guess she went through my phone, but this is some wild shit. When she went through my phone, she didn't like confront me or say anything. What she did was she went through my text messages, and she would look at the girls that I was texting, and then she would try to find them either by name or number on Instagram. And then she would go stalk those girls' Instagrams. And then she texted me like a week later, and she's like, oh, by the way, you passed the test. And I was like, what test? She's like, oh, well, I went on, and she named like 4 girls. I think Shareen was actually one of them. And she's like, I went on these girls' Instagrams, and like I went on their comments, and I don't see you like flirting or putting heart eyes or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure you're not talking to any other women. And I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, I'm pretty impressive, huh? I was like, no, you fucking crazy, but I wish I was smart enough to catch up on that. And then just real quick, it's not connected at all, but it makes me think of my other story a little bit. The one where I talked about how I was immature in a relationship and, possibly fumbled that. But, like Shareen said, just lack of communication could have, potentially solved a lot of things. But she was going on Facebook at the time. This was like before Instagram. She was going on, how like when women are like annoyed with their boyfriend and they're posting those little like quotes in like those little subliminal messages. So I remember I woke up one day and she had posted to the left. And I was kind of like, I should have seen the signs. Once you go on Facebook and your girl posts to the left, it's, time for you to go home and get on up out of there.
Yeah.
Pack your stuff, that's fine. And you can walk and talk at the same time. So I should have seen the signs, man. If once your girl starts posting Beyonce quotes, go ahead and get out of that relationship, because it's
unless
gone.
It's drunk in love. If they're just posting drunk in love, you're in the clear.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Great point. Or what's that party song called with Andre 3000?
Party. We like to party.
That one. If she posts that one, you getting it in, player. I take it back. It depends on which Beyonce song. It's a great point, Ellise. if it's what I don't even know what that song is called. What's the song to the left? To the left. What's
Irreplaceable.
the actual Irreplaceable? If she posts an Irreplaceable, you ain't getting her back. Just go ahead and
Resentment.
move on.
Soldier, pay my bills.
I got I can't say like per se I fumbled it, but sometimes like when you guys are like how you guys are just now talking about like communication, I can understand like how I didn't communicate certain things right, or like how they come off. Because hey, remember Jay when we first got our cell phones together on Singular, and then we both got
Singular. Wow.
Singular.
Man, you brought it back with Singular.
Singular.
Yeah.
There's some 20-year-olds watching this. Like, the fuck is Singular?
You know,
and how are they on the same plan on Singular? Is it only one of them?
Okay, historically, let me bring out the history book. Back prior to 2007, there was a company called Singular. They got bought by AT&T. Anyway, and so remember how like we got that deal to where they made the plan cheaper, but we had to get like basically open all the lines on our plan, and me and you had that second phone. And so you know, back then, you know, like it wasn't that easy to get a charger for your car or something. Like, you know, some phones didn't even have them, you know, so I'm not even sure the phone we had a car charger. You know what I mean? So I would keep that second phone in my car just in case my car died and I needed, like I put a couple of important numbers in it. And then I remember too, like a girl I was dating at the time, I went over her house and I had both phones on me. And then like, so I remember taking them out of my pocket and like putting them on the table. And she was like, how the fuck do you have two phones? And then I'm just like, oh, and I explained it to her. And that story sounds like such bullshit. And she got so insecure about that. 'Cause it sounds like I'm talking to other people on this other phone. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, and I completely blew that shit off. You know, like
you should have lied and said you sold drugs. That would have been way more believable story.
These keys, bro.
Yeah,
there's these keys, because that story sounds like complete bullshit. Like if we opened up and we got two cell phones to save money because we saved like $20 a month. Like both of us, all of us, or something like that. We say like some crazy amount, you know, like, but, and then like she just got increasingly like sort of, well, she was already insecure, but that sort of heightened it, and it ended up just like sort of killing our relationship and stuff. I think back, I'm like, you know, like I can see how that can come off now as like 40-year-old me can see how like the 25-year-old me was like, man, this girl tripping. Like, why don't you trust me? But it's just like, yeah, it sounds like a complete bullshit ass story. Like, like I was like, nothing was like, dude, like I wouldn't have believed that if she would have told me that same story. I'd have been like, bullshit, you know. Like,
it's kind of funny because I remember the exact day that we got those two extra phones. We were like we're at Singular, like at the time, like I think we're at Tyler Mall in Riverside. And then Chris was like, he's like, man, we got to call some people. Like, we got to find two people to take these phones. It's going to take like $60 off the bill if we open these two lines. And I was like, we don't need to find two people. If it's saving us money, let's just open the two lines and we'll both have two phones. And Chris's eyes was like, what? Like it's like a light bulb literally popped over his head. It was like this to him. That was like the smartest shit I've ever said in my life. Like his eyes got so big, and we got the two phones, saved like $50-$60, and then like it was me, him, and our friend Drake, not the rapper Drake. So the three of us. So we split the bill three ways. So like we each saved like $20 a month. Yeah. And then the phones were free to have on the line. The reason why they did the plan, to anyone curious, is because we were like right at the limit. Like at that time, it was like you can only do like, I don't know, 2,000 minutes a month. And like me, Drake, and Chris, we were like right at that threshold, like at 1,800. So, we give them two phones, it's automatically going to go over the threshold, and then we're going to have to up their bill, the $50 that we want them to pay anyways. And if one of them talks a lot, it's going to have to go to a threshold above that one. So that was their mindset. Now knowing we some broke ass niggas and we going to stay under that $2,000 minute.
Yeah.
And so
nobody was using those phones.
And it's kind of funny. Even to this day, I don't like really talk on the phone because those mine said, yeah, call me after 9, y'all. Call me after 9.
Yeah.
Like, you got the unlimited text messages. And I just got used to texting because, like, in my head, it's like, damn, is my minutes free right now? Like, oh, should they? Oh, it's free now. Like, goddamn, I'm getting old.
Yeah. And, think of it, I still have both those numbers that we got on Singular because I still have my original number since like, because actually I had that number in Sprint. I probably had the same number since probably 2002. And then like that number, they still have it, and my wife has it. Like when we were boyfriend and girlfriend, she jumped on our plan and she took over that line. So she still has the same exact number. You know,
do you remember when you asked me to add her to the cell phone bill? Do you remember what you said?
No.
You almost asked me as if I was like your father. Like, you're being so respectful. You're like, hey, JayMan, I got something to ask you. And I was like, yeah, what up, man? He's like, before I ask you, I just want to, check, are you in a good mood right now? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm a grown-ass fucking man. You got something to say it. He's like, all right, man. Is it cool if I get my girlfriend Jackie on the plane with us and then we could save some money? I'm like, yeah, as long as like we don't do the threshold thing, we got to figure out the money and like, all right, cool. And I was just like, this nigga just really asked me if I was in a good mood for this question.
Well, yeah,
it's important.
I was trying to be respectful, but it was under your name.
That shit was so funny to me at the time. Because that's what we used to do to our parents.
Communication.
Dad,
exactly.
Are you in a good mood right now? Can I have $20 for the movies? Dad, you need $20 for? I need like 8 to get in. Yeah, I want to get some popcorn, Dad. Baby, you're slushy.
Gee Willikers, Dad. Well, here you go, B. Here's your $20.
Yeah, we got so many side stories coming up on this episode. Sorry, Shareen and Ellise, for like getting off track here.
No, it's fun.
That's okay. That's funny.
It's a good off track. But yeah.
All right. So it's on you, Shareen. Have you ever been in a situation maybe you really like the guy, you might have been a catch, and maybe you made a mistake, or I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sure I made plenty of mistakes, but I'll just be totally honest. When you were talking about the girl who you felt like she was kind of miserable and she had like maybe not a lot of good relationships, so she was depending on you to provide happiness. Like I kind of feel like I've done that before too, and I'll admit it. And that was really so it's like that made me think that can fumble a relationship, because it's really unhealthy to feel like you're dependent on someone. And so I try not to do that anymore. I feel like I've learned from it, but always, like I remember I went to the hospital and I was like, this guy needs to text me and show me that he cares that I'm in here, because I feel like, I don't know, just all those thoughts in my head. And I was solely dependent. I wasn't even thinking about myself and like, well, I hope I get better. I was really thinking like, okay, maybe this is the opportunity to see if he actually cares. And that was a bad idea, because then I felt worse about myself, because I felt like he didn't care as much and I was in this bad situation. So that was one thing, like just being dependent emotionally on someone else. And so I've tried to be more independent and just be happy in my own life. And I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'm really trying to better myself before I get into a serious relationship. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make, that will ultimately end a relationship, is that you're too dependent. It's good to depend on each other but like to be too dependent, and that's not good. And I will say a story that Ellise said, it was like so similar to mine, where someone else fumbled, where we were in a relationship. We were very young. But then there was like a week or two that went by where he just was testing me, and he didn't even text, call, nothing, like total silence. And so I was never in love, but I fell out of like with this guy basically. And then after the 2 weeks, his excuse was, well, I just needed a break. I'm like, you didn't even tell me that. You just, kind of like shut off everything. And that was a bad test, because you failed it, because now I don't care anymore. And I see that you're playing games. And I remember he was trying so hard to get back in that relationship that he left a game system on my porch. I took it, but I was like, thank you. Santa Claus came early. But
was that the PlayStation 2?
It was. This is a long time ago.
I remember
this PlayStation 2. Yeah. Because mine had broken. I'm like, I'll take it. But that never went anywhere, because that showed me what kind of person he was. And obviously he needed to mature. Like he had a long way to go, as did I. But that's the number one thing. You got to have that communication. So going back to myself, yeah, definitely just having to be in a decent place emotionally so that I'm not depending on the other person, because they may feel like, well, I got to take care of her. And I think that came across too often at certain points. Like I remember I had a long distance relationship, and then I was making all the efforts. Like I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I was flying, spending money flying to them. They never came to me. So that was a red flag. And then I remember one comment, he was an older guy too, but he made a comment saying, all my friends are way more independent than you. You seem like you have a lot of growing up to do. And I just felt like, okay,
Wow.
like it was a rude comment. Like he was extremely rude.
It's terrible.
Yeah. And made me feel bad about myself. But I was so young that like I was kind of in the position where I'm still trying to figure out what to do, career wise, and I'm still learning. And he was more established, but he kept bringing that up. So I think that made me step back because I felt bad about myself. And then I was like, okay, there's got to be more of an equal partnership here. Like, it can't be putting in all the effort. But definitely those are my examples. And then I have a story about someone else. I definitely will not use any names, but
Use Final Fantasy names.
Okay, let me think. So Lightning, that is such a weird name. So awesome. Yeah, she was married for I would imagine more than 20 years. And she just told me this very recently, that she felt like she was being emotionally abused by her husband, and that over the years, like he would scream at her. Everything was about him. So he was very narcissistic. And and I notice this a lot in relationships and even with family, whenever you bring a problem to somebody, even if you bring it in a very like mature, calm way and say, this is something that you do that makes me feel uncomfortable, makes me feel bad, they are very defensive, and they turn it around and say, well, you know what? You're making me feel bad for saying that. So it's just kind of like emotional abuse, because you can never have that communication where you can explain how you feel. And so after so many years of taking that abuse, she said she just kind of snapped recently, and she cheated on him, which I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying she just kind of did it because it was her way of getting out of the relationship. That's what she told me, that it was her way out. And she felt lighter after he found out and ended the whole thing. She also feels a lot of guilt for it, but she said she feels like she's free now because she's out of that abusive relationship, that she wasn't going to end herself because she had 2 kids. So I think listening to each other just goes back to that, like caring enough about the other person to say, okay, I respect your feelings and this is how we can work it out. So I don't know if I'm all over the place with those 3 stories, but those are my examples of just
they're just
great.
Thank you.
Those are really good stories. And then it makes me think of one more. This is one a little bit quicker. But I just think it's a really good point just to bring up. It's a little off topic, but if you are in a relationship and like say the person that you're in a relationship with makes you happy, does all the important things, like, does their best, take care of your self-care, take care of your mental health, reassures you, communicates, faithful, all the really important parts of relationship. If you have those locked down, you got to kind of realize nobody's perfect. You're not ever going to find the perfect partner. So I was in a relationship where like I did all these things for a girl, and she was really insecure, really jealous, and I tried to help her work through those things. And we did make progress, but the 2 things she could not get over about me, which aren't even red flags, is 1, I'm introverted. So I'm very selective with who I socialize with. Like C-Rock would tell you, me and him could talk for hours about a lot of different topics, which is obviously part of the reason we started a podcast. And Shareen too, she'll tell you that there's times where we're out and like Shareen's sitting there talking to everybody and I haven't said a word in hours. And it's not even that I'm having a bad time. I'm just sitting there observing people watching. Sometimes I literally zone out and I'm gone for like 10 minutes in my own head because I just thought of some crazy scenario, mixing these crazy, superhero stories together in my head, and that's more interesting, whatever. No offense to whatever, Shereen's talking about. And
no
I know
offense
Shereen
taken.
knows I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way at all.
No.
It's just that's the way my mind works. And it's not even something that I'm attempting to do. So 10 minutes will pass and then they'll realize like, oh shit, I was gone for like 10 minutes. But it's crazy. Like I don't do it on purpose. It literally just happens. And then so she hated the fact that I was an introvert, and she hated the fact that I like to play video games. Like I could sit there for 2 or 3 hours, not text her back, and I'm just on the game. And so she would invite me over to like her family parties and stuff. And like, if people talk to me, I would talk back. Oh, ask me how's work and, blah, 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 whatever. And then after the second or third time, she'd tell me, oh, like my family, they think you're rude. Like you don't ask them any questions. You don't do this, you don't do that. I'm like, I'm just like sitting there, people watching, minding my business. Like, why is that rude? It's like, oh, well, they want you to like communicate with them more. And I'm like, I don't naturally communicate people. It has to happen organically. If I don't form a connection with you, then I'm not going to be disrespectful to you in any way, shape, or form, but I'm not going to hold a conversation with you. And I'm not going to listen to you talk about something I don't care about. I'm going to zone out. And I don't think that's rude. If you ask me, hey, do I want to talk about motorcycles? And I say no, then that should be it. But you just go on talking about motorcycles because you have one. I don't give a fuck about motorcycles. So I'm going to zone out. And then the other thing, obviously, I brought up the video games. So I did all these things for her. Like I said, I was faithful to her, communicate with her. When she felt insecure, I would reassure her. If she wanted me to do something for her and it was in my capabilities, I did it for her. But she could not get past these two things. She actually, towards the end of our relationship, she was like, hey, like, here's this family party. Like, it'd be really important to me if you come and like help set up. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll help set up. Then I told her right away, like, I'll probably only stay like a few hours and I'll go home. Like, let me know what time you want me to set up. And then she's like, no, I was actually hoping that you can help set up like around 1. And then like people usually start leaving like around 12:30, 1 in the morning. So I wanted you to like stay the whole time. I'm like, bitch, you want me to work a 12-hour shift for you? Do I get 2 breaks and 2 lunches? Because that's past the overtime. So like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking to me right now. So I told her straight up, like, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't care if your family thinks I'm an asshole for not coming, setting up their party, staying for 12 hours, and then, helping you put everything away or whatever. Like, I'll do one or the other. Like, I don't mind helping and pitching in. Like I said, anything she asked, I would do if it's in my capability. But I'm not sitting there for no 12 hours. If I threw a party for myself, it's not going to be 12 hours. It's going to be 3, 4, 5. And then, like, if people are lingering and we're just having drinks and playing games or whatever, yeah, it can go on for a little bit longer than that. But if I'm over it, I'm over it. And so she could not accept that. She could not get over that. And then, she would get upset when I would play video games. Like I would tell her ahead of time, like, hey, this new Call of Duty game's coming out. Like I'm gonna be playing all weekend with the homie. And like back in the day when me, like Chris and our friend Drake, not the rapper Drake, before we were in like really serious relationships, and Shereen's come with us a few times, we would go to the midnight release at GameStop. We get a new game at 12 o'clock midnight. We'd all call off or take the day off the next day. We'd go home, get on like at 12:30, in the morning and play till like 5, 6 a.m. We all knock out, get back on like around noon, 1 o'clock, and we play the whole weekend after that. That was like our thing we would do with a new video game. And she could not accept that. I would be like, hey, like, let's spend time this week because this weekend the new game's coming out. Oh, you're so disrespectful. You don't care about me. And she ended up breaking up with me because I was introverted and I played video games. And come to find out like 2 to 3 months later, I'm bringing it back. This is the girl that hits me up on a date and says that she's bored because her last relationship, 2, 3 months into it, she got cheated on after breaking up with me. And that's why she was on these dates with these new dudes and then coming back to my house to hook up with me and bringing me snacks and bringing me pizza. So that's when I was just like, yeah, I can't be in this relationship with this girl. So I just wanted to bring that back full circle, give you like some MCU, doing prequels and tying everything together. So I hope that sounded cool.
It's a trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that sounded cool. This was the same girl, y'all. So
yeah,
and that's on me too, because obviously I was messing with her twice, so I didn't learn my fucking lesson the first time. But the second time, like I said, it was just casual. So I'm like, yeah, we could just hook up, no strings attached. But apparently, she wanted no strings attached, and she wanted me to be just hers, which does not work for me. So we stopped hooking up after that. But thanks for the pizza, Mark Plus. So appreciate that, sir.
Mark 2.0.
I should text her and hey, where'd that nigga Mark get that pizza from again? That pizza was fire.
That shit was good,
And my bad. I thought that was gonna be a quicker story, but
no, it was a good story.
But just a quick baseline before I pass it to somebody else. If you meet somebody and they're 90% of what you need, there's not a good chance you're going to get 95, 99% of the perfect partner from somebody else. If they do these needs you need where they're honest, faithful, communicate, take care of your mental, give you self-care. If you had a bad day, go run the bath for you, stuff like that. You have a really good partner. And like the other stuff you can talk about, communicate, compromise on, but like, if you're dating somebody and the only two gripes you have is they're not really social and they like to play video games, then I'm sorry, but you fumbled that relationship.
Exactly.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Hey, I want to throw something out there to go along with what Jay said. It's like, look, man, I see a lot of people on TikTok and on social media complain about how hard it is to date. And it's like, on some level, you shouldn't be complaining about that. What you should really realize is you're not going to be compatible with everybody. You're not meant to be. Like, so there's so many people out here, like, out of all the people I dated and all that, all the people I talked to, I think, including my wife, there's maybe 3 or 4 of them that I could have had a long-term relationship with them. You know what I mean? So dating is supposed to be hard, and you're going to run into a lot of bullshit, especially the more you start doing it. But just learn the way I deal with it is learn to live in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes like somebody told me happiness is reality minus expectations. You know what I mean? So don't go on.
That's a good quote.
Like, don't go on this date expecting to hook up, expecting some sex, expecting anything. Only expect what you're going to do. So if you guys are going to go to dinner, expect to have dinner. If it's at a good restaurant or it gets good reviews, expect to have a good meal. Expect to have a conversation. Try your best to make it good. But if it ain't, then it ain't. Move on. Don't be so like, I see a lot of guys get butthurt or get like, oh my God, this is not. And just like JayMan said, when you meet somebody who's 90% of what you want, then you cherish that because that's rare. And sometimes, and I hate to quote this dude, but he was right. Like Kevin Samuel said, you don't get unlimited choices either. So don't fumble a good relationship. When you have it, if you have a girl or a woman that's 90% of what you want in a woman, then you hold on to that because you might not get another chance. So I thought, that just made me think about that.
And Jay, could I say, just going off, that's a great point. And unfortunately, that girl missed out. Like, she definitely missed out, and she found out very soon after because unfortunately she was cheated on. She found out what she let go. And I just want to say that I learned that I was an introvert. I didn't know that. Like, I really didn't realize it until later. You can't just switch it off. It's very hard and it's really draining for somebody to be in a social situation. I talk to everybody because I feel like I kind of have to, but I have to walk away from that and have like my alone time where I'm playing a game or whatever. So you can't change that in a person. And it's good to have opposite interests sometimes, because that might introduce you to something, or you could just observe and say, hey, cool, that's something that you like to do. So we do need to we need to give people more of a chance, be more patient and understanding. And I totally agree. No one's perfect. You're not perfect. So you can't expect somebody, unless you want to date like an AI, which I definitely don't. So doesn't sound fun.
That's a great point. And let me just say something real quick, Chris.
Right.
And just to piggyback on what Chris was just talking about, sometimes you can meet somebody and you guys can both be, honest, faithful, like great partners, but you guys just don't have that connection. And sometimes it's two really great people. They'll be perfect partners for somebody. It's just you two together. It's not anything bad. It's just sometimes you meet somebody really good and they're just not compatible with you personally, even though you're both really good people. And I feel like that's not talked about enough, that
Exactly.
sometimes you feel like you lose a good person, but maybe they just weren't compatible with you. Like that's possible too. So I'll go ahead and let you take it from there, Chris.
No, like that. Hey, that's a really good point, because a lot of men, like, they take rejection a little too hard. And sometimes, like, they, like, oh, like, you're not worthy or you're not good enough. But it isn't like getting with a woman or being in a long-term relationship isn't like getting into college. Like, if you didn't get in, it's because you weren't good enough or something. A lot of times it's just maybe you weren't compatible. I've had that happen to me. And it was funny. I met this girl and, like, we dated for a while. And then, like, she was just like, hey, a couple months ago, she was like, hey, I don't think we should talk anymore. And I'm just like, hey, why? And then, like, like, hey, why? And she was just like, dude, like, we don't have nothing in common. And then, like, we're talking over text messages, and I start, like, really thinking about it before I respond. I'm like, yeah, we kind of don't. She doesn't do anything that I like, and nor do I. I just was really physically attracted to her. So it's just, I was like, you're right. So
She had a fat ass, y'all.
So it isn't per se. It isn't per se a bad thing, or said there was anything wrong with either one of us. We just, like I said, weren't compatible. So you guys gotta, like, learn that, don't get butthurt. Just, hey, so all I do is to take that and then get in the gym and start working out like you have to become Goku or become stronger to not deal with it. It's like, nah, dude, like, dude, you like I said, you're not gonna be compatible with everybody. It's just what it is. But you got anything, Ellise?
I'm really just taking all this in, because dating is so hard. I hate it. It's literally the worst. Like, I'm damn near at the point where I'm like, I wish I would have been married off, because this is hard.
Taking arranged marriage over this shit.
Right.
Yo, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's difficult. Like, everybody's got an ego, and I noticed, like you said, with the TikTok and Instagrams, like, there's all these standards that are going viral that you need, like, oh, he's not doing this and that, like, but it's everybody's so different. Like you said, it just, sometimes you're not compatible. I know personally that there's certain things that I don't like I would probably even prefer to date somebody like Jay, because I know with my crazy ass, like, I need to know where you are you at home playing the game? Good, we're fine. Oh, you're an introvert, so you're not talking to other bitches, right? Like, that's, so that may have not worked.
Thank
for her,
you.
But, like,
thank you. That, in my head, I'm like, why wouldn't you not want your nigga at home playing video games? Why would you not want him just socializing with people that you've met and are part of my circle? So, sorry to interject.
Right.
Go ahead, Ellise.
No. That's how it is. Like,
wasn't this the dude getting fed? Wasn't this the dude getting fed by a girl who was going out on dates? That was JayMan, but now you're the introvert.
Excuse me.
Now you're not talking to other girls.
I didn't socialize with nobody. What are you talking about? That had nothing to do with being an introvert.
Oh, you introvert till it's time for it to hit some back shots.
Yeah, what is back shots?
And get some other.
Shareen, you don't know what back shots are?
No, I wrote it down with a question mark in my notes like an hour ago. So.
That's when you grab a girl, right? And like you kissing her, then you turn her over and like grab the back of her neck and like push it into a pillow. Okay. And then now she's reversed. And then you get up in there. And then there's this sound that it makes when you're doing it the right way and you get in a rhythm. Yeah. And it sounds like Afghanistan.
Wow.
Actually, here's the perfect explanation. If you're really good at it, it sounds like when you're running in flip-flops.
Okay.
So imagine somebody running
I
in
don't-
flip flops,
Okay.
and they're really fast. They're really fast running.
Yeah.
'Cause you know they're hard to
Yeah.
run fast in, but imagine like, you know, a football player, running back,
Yeah.
running in flip flops, and that's what
Okay.
back shots
Damn.
sound like.
Okay. I do
So-
not
so Shareen.
recommend that, but yes.
Shareen,
Shareen, I would
absolutely
absolutely recommend back shots.
If you had some back shots before, you would be
No.
recommending it.
I mean,
Audience, do you recommend?
I'm
Tell
saying
Shareen
I don't recommend running in flip flops. Like, I don't think
Oh
it's safe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't recommend
But you
that.
did the back
either.
shots.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Apologies. I thought you said you don't
Afghanistan
recommend.
pillows. Yeah. Okay. Well, I
So,
learned something.
So old nigga that you was
Yeah.
dating, wasn't doing back shots. Damn, old nigga, what was you wasting all that time for? That nigga was that old and didn't know how to. Never mind. Let's move on. That's your business.
I guess
He
he
was no
fumbled.
good.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh,
There
old
we
nigga
go.
wasn't blowing your back out. Damn.
You know, old niggas only do
No.
missionary. You don't know how to do nothing else.
He was saying old nigga shit to you and shit the whole time. It's like, girl, after this, I'm gonna take you to the juke joint, girl. Come on. I'm like,
Yeah.
Now, come on now. The only proper position is the good old missionary.
missionary,
Right,
boy, you
right.
can't,
That's the way I was
Slick
brought
in
into
oil
this
can.
world, and this is the way I have my kin in this world.
boy,
Yeah.
you can't slick an oil can, boy. You can't bullshit the shit up. Boy, I stick to the fundamentals. Like, I'm sorry, old nigga. We don't. You think old nigga listen? You
Yeah.
think old
No.
nigga he wouldn't listen? All right, fuck old
No,
nigga.
we're listening to some Commodore's records and
right
you know.
now,
Aw.
that nigga listens to Lionel Richie right now.
Yeah, Lionel Richie. He's
In his
saying all
Cadillac.
night long, but I don't think so.
Nah, bro.
All night long. Oh, man.
All night.
smoking a menthol cigarette,
All night.
you know, sipping on some
Not the
cognac.
Newport.
I got some of that yak, boy. you know, old ass nigga. Fuck out of here.
I can't. And you know
Yeah,
what?
we're
It's funny
done.
because this is like the older ones, they're just as bad as the younger ones.
Yeah.
Ain't no
Just as
nigga
bad.
ain't no nigga who is worth having. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna stand by this. Ain't no nigga who's worth having made it to his mid-40s single. Like if I meet a nigga and he 45 and single, never been married and shit, then he was never worth having in the first place. Nigga, like ain't no nigga like he ain't no hitting Jim or nothing. Like no, nobody wanted to marry your ass. You know, like so if I met like a woman or a dude who was just like, I'm 45, 47, never been married, like, oh damn, nigga, you got some issues. Because it's just like
My time's running out, Chris. My time's running out.
I'm sorry,
Shareen.
Shareen.
No, you're
I'm sorry,
good.
Shareen. I didn't mean, but
No,
besides
I fall into
Shareen,
that.
besides
I'm
Shareen,
not 40.
y'all.
I'm
Besides
not
Shareen.
40, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
before I forget, because I should have did it at the beginning. I got to do our comment of the day.
Yeah.
Can you guys still
Oh.
see me?
Yeah.
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 Okay, I never went like outside of the app before.
It's gonna
like-
click you off. You're gonna have to edit this out. It's gonna click you off. Go ahead. It's like
So can you guys still see me right now and hear me?
I still
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
then
gonna
I'm
click off.
good because I have the app right here.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So this comment is from Jenna in regards to our episode, The Gamer Girl Experience. And her comment goes as follows: yes, finally a representation of the girl gamer experience. Great episode. Love how they delve into both the female and male perspective, as well as the possible causes behind the behaviors towards women in the industry. I also appreciated how the hosts advocate for us. And if you can't tell, she is a woman, so advocates for women and speak to their male counterparts empathetically, addressing how to improve and change the sexist climate. Great show, super funny and enjoyable to watch.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank
We
you
love
so
you,
much,
Jenna.
Jenna. That was an amazing comment and made us feel real special about having our first episode that was really catered towards women and their experiences and how us, even me and Chris, can, be better. Maybe in some ways we're not directly the problem, but there's other ways we can advocate and, stand up and make sure that we can get as close to equality as possible for women in every, not just gaming, everything else as well.
Exactly. Because it does filter into real life. Like I highly doubt that a lot of these dudes are complete shitheads on Xbox Live and then nice people in real life. It's like, nah, what you do is just who you are, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How you treat a stranger, you treat your woman like that if she pisses you off enough. You know what I mean? So,
But good. And then, all right, so we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this episode up soon. And then we're going to start with those morality questions.
Hey,
but I noticed
before we wrap up, I wanted to like review and maybe like just really quickly look on some of the ways that, hey, you know, we can't just bring out the problem. We got to bring out some of the solutions. You know what I mean? So just about having conversation. I don't know if you guys agree, like, hey man, you got to have something to talk about, you know, and a good thing to talk about is you got to have life experiences. So, you know, men getting out there living your life, you know, and getting these experiences when you're young are going to just help you out in your dating experiences. Attire, that kind of goes without saying, but you got to put your best foot forward. Just like Ellise said about attire, you know, like a job interview, or was that Shareen?
That was Shareen.
That was Shareen. Yeah, it's like when you're going to, you know, if you wouldn't wear it on a job interview, maybe you shouldn't wear it on a date. You know, learn to pick up signs. Most communication and flirting or anything is nonverbal. So learn to pick up body language, learn to pick up all that. Never shish anybody. If you invite somebody, including a friend, you should probably pay for them, even if you're not dating. If I was to invite, I can't invite JayMan like, hey man, you want to go to, you know, somewhere, and then like, if I want him to pay for myself or for himself, that should at least be discussed, you know. But on a date, I mean, if you invite a woman somewhere, you should at least pay. Wash your ass, like we repeatedly said. Wash your ass, clean your car. Your hygiene is important. I'm not gonna sit here and explain on how to wash your ass or how to clean your car or how to do that. There's probably plenty of videos on YouTube. Do it. It's important. And if you pick up, sometimes it's the little things. You know, if you pick up on that and you change that little stuff, you'll get a better result. So let's end it. Don't be Mark or Mark 2.0 buying other people's food.
All right, and then
if Mark 2.0 had conversation skills, he would have been doing the back shots and not feeding the dude doing the back shots. I'm just saying, if he wasn't born on the
I was more than happy to, you know, tag in
oblige.
Go ahead and get on about the way, play. I got it from here. But something that I noticed just listening back before I was so rudely interrupted.
My bad.
Looking back and watching and listening to our episodes, I do kind of just say, all right, we're going to wrap it up here, and just kind of wrap it up. So that's actually something that I'm working on now. So as I'm doing my second version of the wrap up, Shareen, is there something you wanted to say on the way out? And then after that, I'll pass it off to the charming Ellise.
I think everybody made such good points, and I definitely will take this, you know, for myself moving forward. I'll be very aware of like how I'm treating another person and how I'm being treated. So I think it's really important that we had this topic. Like at first when Jay brought it up to me, I was like, I don't have anything to contribute. I don't know what to say. But like just discussing the experiences and knowing that other people can relate and have similar, you know, experiences with people, that helps a lot. So I hope that whenever, you know, down the line, I can have a better story, like a feel-good story or something. But I think this would help a lot of people. So I just want to say I appreciate all of you, and I'm happy to be a part of this. And that's it.
We appreciate you too, Shareen.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sir.
I took in a lot of what you said. I don't think that I have seen that perspective before. So I'm really glad that I was in this conversation. I'm glad to be here. You guys are all so awesome and open and funny. But I got a little bit of a reality check today. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna work on myself. But yeah, I think it was a good conversation. Spit nothing but facts over here. I like it. I love it.
That's great. Self-work is very important. So I'd like to advocate that, not just for Ellise, but for all of us and everybody listening. like C-Rock said on a previous episode, we can always be, a better spouse, a better father, better mother, better brother, better sister, better friend. Even if we are already, one of the most amazing in that category, is you can always, be a little better for somebody, make their day a little bit better if they're having a tough time. So that's part of the reason we wanted to start this podcast, is to give this type of advice in a lighthearted, funny way, so that people could laugh while they're, while we're dropping knowledge on the edge at the same time, because no one just wants to have knowledge just, knocking at their head all the time. You got to mix in, that's just vegetable. You got to mix in some meat too, some humor. So that's what we try to do. And then it's not the only meat we mixing in, as I was alluding to those back shots earlier. So another thing I got going on.
A lot of meat being mixed in.
Yeah.
Wait. Ellise and I don't eat that. We don't eat meat. I think that was established. So,
Oh, is that
tool
the
it.
case?
I'm not sure. I know. I get some tofurkey in there, maybe some tofu. But yeah, a little tofu with the vegetables. But go ahead. Back shots was a better callback.
The meat we talking about, you don't find it at a slaughterhouse.
Okay.
You don't find it. You don't find it at Stater Brothers. You don't find it unless you do. Unless you meet that brother in the aisle or something. But you ain't gonna find it in the freezer section. And we ain't talking about that type of meat.
Yeah, and men, you're not gonna find it in the shower. So please wash your ass. You don't have anyone in the shower. That's another
excellent point, Shareen.
Yes, I just want. Yes.
I don't know how you could be scared to do it. You're alone in there.
Hopefully.
You're alone in there. Nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole another fear right there.
That's a whole.
I know.
They're afraid they might like it. That's the whole thing. They're afraid they might.
If they like it, I love it.
Yeah.
So just a disclaimer: every single time I take a shower, I wash my ass. When I spread the cheeks, not once has a magical dick popped up and got up in my ass. So y'all safe, man. I promise you. I've done it thousands of times. There ain't no magic dicks fucking you out here. So,
good to know.
So,
dick carrying's not real.
So the last thing I want to say is just to reiterate what I said earlier, is just be patient and understand, again, nobody is perfect. You're not going to find the perfect spouse. So if you find someone that meets all your needs, and maybe they have a hobby you're not into, maybe they spend too much time doing this, learn to communicate. Say, hey, you spent 2 or 3 hours doing this today. I really needed your help with this. Next time, maybe can you do this first and then get on, or take a break? Just have that communication. And as long as they're working with you, there's no problem for them to have that hobby, whatever they're doing, that makes them happy. So no one's perfect. Communicate, compromise, and love each other, and you guys will be all right. And anyone else got any closing remarks?
No, that was profound. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. So thank you for tuning in to the Roast with Friends podcast. Thank you to my co-host C-Rock, the lovely C-Rock. Thank you to the lovely Shareen. Thank you to the lovely, charming Ellise. And we gone.